The one thing I have so far, just again, I'm only 8 hours into what I assume is at least an 80 to 100 hour game, is everything feels a little segmented, and I think that just might be sort of the mood I'm in with a JRPG after playing Persona 5, where everything transitions into each other really well. Like when you're in a hub world in this game, when you go into like the regular combat, you can just see the enemies and you go up and you start fighting them, and like the map will show you like this is the battle area right here. But then when you're in the overworld and you have like all the sort of like little monsters that you have to like walk around and stuff, if you go into that battle, it feels like there's a momentum building, and then you have to wait and get into that battle and then do the battle, and it's cool, and then you have to wait and then get back into the overworld, and none of it really transitions well.
Yeah, it's almost like it's less a knock on Kuni and more of like, well, if you're being compared to Persona, it's just.
I think that's the mark of a really good game is when the one you play after it sort of frustrates you just for not being the last.
Yeah,
but it's the thing where I feel we're very much in still if. I agree with you. It could be 80 hours long. We're still in the tutorial section, much in the way in Persona, you're still in the tutorial 25 hours in, it feels like sometimes. So I wouldn't be surprised if things start to coalesce, but I totally agree right now. It feels like I do the tactics battle, and then I go over here to do the in-world battle, and then
so hopefully, like after you get through all of the learning about the game, hopefully they sort of meld together.
Yeah, and I feel like this is also coming out at such a good time because like it's a busy week or two with Way Out and Far Cry 5 and not on PlayStation, but Sea of Thieves.
Yeah,
but it doesn't have competition in any of those. Like it doesn't feel the same as any of those, and there's no JRPG sort of on the timeline. Like we're getting Detroit and God of War and
God of War,
Souls.
My favorite JRPG.
Yeah. So like, I feel like
maybe
it
as
has
long as some of them.
I feel like it has a runway for a while of sort of being singular and by itself in terms of games like this coming out.
Yeah.
So there's no mainstream Persona game coming out this year, so this is probably
are they going to be dancing?
That doesn't count. It's a dancing game.
Dancing is so mainstream.
That is more mainstream than RPGs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate to be comparing these two, but I do oddly think that this might be this year's Persona 5, where Persona 5 came out early in the year last year, and I don't feel like a lot of people like there was a different hype about it around like than the other Persona games. Like more people knew about it this time around. There were people paying attention, and then it came out. And it came out in like that 2-week period of Zelda and Horizon. And so it sort of dipped off for a while. And slowly throughout the year, you had this sort of hype building again of like, oh.
People got to it in the summer. They got to it in the fall.
We got to, like people got to it later and they're like, oh, this game's actually awesome. And then it got into Game of the Year conversations. And I think that could possibly happen with Ni no Kuni.
Yeah, it's very much a game that I was going to not like skip entirely, but be like, okay, I probably don't need to play at launch because there are 4 other games out that week and I need to make sure I try everything. And here's an 80-hour game I don't want to dive into, but I played 2 hours. I'm like, I need to keep playing this. I was really getting into the flow of it.
Yeah, I couldn't play it all this weekend, and it was the only game I wanted to play over the weekend.
Yes, that's rad. That was just a little bit of this week's Beyond. For the full episode and lots of other tons of fun things, head over to youtube.com/IGNBeyond and subscribe today. There's the thumb.